kung kayo ay birinig ng mga girlfriend, boyfriend yun, sinaktan na inyong puso, it's a form of corruption in a literal sense. So, politics kasi is something which is different from the corruption. They are opposite side. In the politics, it's not really rupturing of the heart. It is all about how you build the heart and how you build this unity between the people in terms of governance. So, what is your basic understanding of politics? Or ano ba talaga ang politika? Sa ating nakasanayan na pagkakaintindi, politika or politics is a system, or simply it is an activity which deals with the governance of a country or a state, or even in a smaller context, a society. It can be like in a barangay level, it can be on a municipal level, and at the same time it can be on a level of countries. So we have the state leaders or the country leaders. But I'll give you first a technical definition of what politics is. Politics are understood as the activities associated with governance of a country or a certain point of area. Especially topics here are debated or conflict among individuals or parties having or hoping to achieve power. Okay? Achieving power is something which is essential in this one. Kasi all people inside the politics or all people into government has this certain kind of power. It is always part of it. Achieving power. Kaya ngayon, tingnan nyo, mapapansin nyo mag-election na tayo. Sa election natin, people are putting much effort on campaign, on endorsing themselves. Why? Because they want a certain position, because that certain position will guarantee them of a certain power, which is attributed to a political one. And when you get a political power, meaning you will have a control of something, not really something. It can be something, not only something, it can be something or someone. So that is the idea. Remember, when we were discussing in philosophy, man is a social animal, we were talking about there that before man became a social animal, or man as a homo socius, at the same time, he is a political animal. Remember? When we say man is a political animal, we use the origin of the word political. Ginamit natin yung discussion na yun. Kasi pag sinabi natin political, meaning, ang general concept is they are part of the government. Politiko sila. Pero it's not the etymological meaning. When we say political, we come up with the word polis. The Greek origin of the word. When we say polis, literally, it means city-state. City-state. Ciudad or estado. So what is the connection with that in the idea of being a social animal? Remember when I told you, kasi man is always a social animal. We cannot but be social, or we cannot but socialize with other persons. Because in a Greek perspective, when we say city-state or state, the essence of state is connections or socializations. Nakikipag-interact talaga sila sa iba't ibang states. Kaya the word polis really suggests that man is political, and at the same time, they are social. Homo socius and political animal. Remember, it is by Aristotle. Pero in philosophy, if we're going to study politics, it is more concentrated, or it is more focused on the fundamental questions about the state, government, and politics, including liberty, justice, and enforcement of a legal code by authority. Paano ba nagbibigay ng isang instruction, or paano ba nagbibigay ng legal established law ang isang tao na nasa authority? And at the same time, when we talk about ethics, when we talk about politics, ethics is something which is very important to discuss also. Because ethics applied to a group of people is related to politics. That is why it is ethics which is applied to a group of people and discusses how a society should be set up and how one should act within a society. Paano ba dapat kumilos ang isang tao within that certain context of society? Sabi ko sa inyo, it's interconnected. Because man is a social animal, man is a homo socius, societies were formed. Man cannot live alone. When societies are formed, this man or these people have this pattern of life. Pattern of life which suggests on how are they going to live in a daily setup or even in a bigger setup. That pattern of life again will now fall into culture. And last one, of course, is politics. Politics is about the governance. The governance of that society and that way of living. And sometimes, politics becomes part of the way of living. Kaya we can understand sometimes, or we can understand sometimes, that we have this thing called culture of politics. That's why. Okay, again, that is politics. Now, in politics or political science, the etymology of the word political science, which is the specific study of politics, is again city-state, polis, and science is shire, which means to know. Okay? Kaya the literal translation of political science is to know the city-state, to know the state. Sir, what is the connection with that in politics or in political science? That is the essence actually. Kasi pag sinabi natin to know the states, when you to know the state, it encompasses the system on how the state works. And how will you identify kung paano ba gumagalaw ang isang state? You will identify it depending on what kind of governance is handling that certain society. That is why political science, by literal translation, intends that we want to know states, or what we want to know what is happening within the state. Okay? So, sabi ko nga sa inyo, our discussion will be, sir, kailan ba talaga nag-start ang politics? Is it necessary for us to have politics? Or kaya ba natin mag-exist kahit walang politics? So those questions will be discussed. Okay? So when I go back there in our formal class, I'm going to present to you a small historical base on when did politics started. Pero I'll give you a glimpse. Actually, politics, according to philosophy or according to some article, has no certain point of time kung kailan talaga siya nagsimula. Ang sabi, simula nung nagkaroon ng tao, simula nung ang tao ay naging tao, sibilisado, ay nagkaroon na tayo ng politics. Kaso, it's like an unconscious politics. Pero, one book, The Origin of Political Order by Francis Fukuyama. This is a nice book about politics. I suggest for the book lovers to read this. Suggests that politics, or the concept of politics that we have today, started when the first man drew a line. When man first drew a line within his property, or within his what do you call this, shelter. Kasi ano yung property? We're talking about your private property. Property. Yung nagkaroon na tayo na ito ang aking bahay, yan ang iyo. That is private property. And normally, according to political philosophers and some political scientists, that is the origin, or that is when politics really started. The concept of private property. I will elaborate it on the next discussion. But what important today, we need to establish the idea of politics as a general concept. Okay? Siguro, I'm going to use political science theories, pero at the same time, I guess it is a must also for you to understand the philosophical concept or the philosophical understanding of what philosophy is. And at the same time, in the discussion of politics, we'll focus first on the elements, that is power, justice, and order. Those three things are always present, especially power. Power is something which gives them this kind of invisible power that when I said you jump, you will jump. It is like yung sinabi ko na kwento ko nga sa inyo na parang yung pagtaya ka sa laro ng ice water or ice water, na parang pagtaya ka, you have this right na pag hinawakan mo yung kalaro mo, hindi sila makagalaw. At yung kalaro mo, hindi din talaga nagalaw. Pag hinawakan mo, freeze talaga siyang ganyan. Pero yung kakampi mo, may kapangyarihan din siya na pag hinawakan mo siya, parang makakagalaw ka na uling gano'n. That is the same power context that we're trying to study in politics. Kasi it's not like a supernatural power. It is a power given to the person. And next, of course, is justice. Justice is something which giving what is due. Kung ano yung tama, kung ano yung nararapat sa isang tao. So that is justice. So we'll elaborate it more. And order, of course, is the harmony between power and justice. The proper execution in politics, the proper execution of governance, which will result to order. Okay? Parang sa classroom lang. Kung tama yung kumbaga, sa classroom, kung maayos yung administrasyon or maayos yung pagtatakbo ng mayor sa klase at binibigyan niyang hustisya yung mga nangyayari sa classroom, the class will be in order. The class will be organized. So it's an interrelated concept which, of course, deals with the elements of politics. Okay? So what else? Next is governance. Kasi nga, because of the private property which started this politics, there is now a must. There is now a must for us that this people should be governed. Okay, remember the social contract of Thomas Hobbes, wherein the people surrender their freedom to this head or the Leviathan in exchange for the service of the people. That social contract really is one of the fundamental origins or one of the fundamental reason of the existing governments that we have today. Okay, pero going back to the ancient times, the Greek people or the ancient Greece or the Greeks are the one who established this notion of democracy. They are the one who made this democracy. Kahit wala pang organized political order, pero sila yung nagkuha ng konsepto ng democracy. So I hope you learned something for today. I guess that would be all. I'm sorry if I'm not there because I'm not feeling well, and at the same time, my muscles are aching. That's why I have salon pass here. Medyo masama ang pakiramdam ko. Hindi ko alam, baka trangkasuin ako. Pero babawi ako sa discussion pagbalik ko dyan. Pero for your task for today, at least you search about the different kinds of power. I'll give you a tip. There are 6 kinds that we will be discussing. So try to research on that, then give meaning and try to give example of those kind of power. Okay? So that will be all for today. I'll see you on Monday. Continue doing your sit work, the one that I've told earlier. Then that's all. Good day, class. Goodbye. Be safe. Yung rosary, mag-recess na kayo pag natapos nyo yung Perpetual, mag-lunch na kayo pag natapos nyo yung seat work. Tapos yung Fatima, hintayin nyo yung